G'day and welcome to the Midweek Wrap, where we stay connected at Valley and look at life from a biblical perspective. G'day Rich, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks Ben. Good to see you. Can't wait to get back to church this Sunday.
Yeah.
It's finally going to happen.
A few things we're really looking forward to for this week, which we'll share in a couple of notices. But we want to talk about how we can understand and love each other at the moment when we're about to come back together. We've got different views on a range of things, some of us, and it would be good to be able to consider the perspective of people who might think from a range of different positions. And so we've got a little tool that we want to share with you on how we can be thinking about that. But first, what's coming up this week, Rich?
Yeah, coming up this Friday night, youth group is meeting in person at the school. So that's really exciting. Jordan and the team are getting ready for that.
And then on this Saturday, we've got our working bee, so a lunch at 12:30 here at the chapel, and then we're mowing the lawns, packing up the streaming stuff to move over to the church for Sunday the 21st.
That's right, and that Saturday's weather permitting, because there is a bit of rain expected. We may not mow the lawn, we do need to move the gear, so even if it's raining, we're going to have to find a way to get the gear up to the school.
A line of people holding umbrellas or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
But then on Sunday, we're really looking forward to having an all-age celebration, back together occasion this Sunday. Cliff's going to be there. We're going to have some special activities and things for the kids, which is going to be great. We're going to have our two services running simultaneously this Sunday. Yeah,
so there'll be a live stream to here at the chapel in the Uniting Church at 1070 Union Road. Can I encourage people to arrive a little early so that just with getting things right, doing our COVID safe checks and so on, vaccine checks, that can all happen so that we're ready to go at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, so if you get there 10 minutes early. So at the school, you'll have to show your vaccination status. At the chapel, we can have anyone here, up to 20 people. And so hopefully you can make it to one of those services, and anyone can come to the chapel one. So it's not just for those who aren't vaccinated, it's for anyone to come who wants to share fellowship with people.
You will need to book in beforehand so we don't overdo the 20, because we can't have 25 in here.
So there'll be a link in e-news. Please book in if you want to be in this service here at the chapel.
Yeah. But how do we love? How do we love one another in these differences? Is that everything?
We get baptised is one way we love. So just quickly, two other things. The 12th of December, we're hoping to have some baptisms. And the 19th of December, we're meeting for carols. And so there's 10,000 of these fellas going out in the mail in the coming week. And we'll have some at church on Sunday to give to your friends and colleagues and neighbours and things. So keep an eye out for those. Sunday the 19th, carols, and then Christmas Day service as well. But loving one another. Tell us all about it, Rich.
Yeah, so we're thinking about there's 4 different ways as we think about how do we love one another, because there are different groups amongst us. There are those who are concerned about the concerned about the virus, but comfortable with the vaccine. And then there are some of us who are the opposite, who are not that concerned about the virus, but very concerned for the vaccine. Then there's 2 other groups.
There's those who think COVID is serious, but the vaccine isn't safe. You don't want to take the vaccine. And there's others who think COVID isn't serious, but the vaccine is safe. So you might identify yourself in one of those squares more than another, and there's going to be kind of temptations to see people in those other squares in a certain way, and then we want to talk through the temptations and the opportunities to love for each of those categories.
So why don't you kick us off, Ben?
Yeah, well, so box number 1, you think COVID is serious, there's reasons to be concerned about COVID, and you think the vaccine is effective. And so I guess the challenges for us in that square is to kind of look down on people, for all of these really is to look down on people who think differently to you, but particularly to look down on the people who aren't getting vaccinated and think, well, what are you doing with yourself? To the point where we stop actually caring about them and say, well, look, if you haven't taken the vaccine, you've kind of made your bed, now you have to lie in it, stay home, don't go to the shops, all those kind of things. And to stop loving those people, basically, to just kind of reject them, stop caring about them, and despise them almost. And even to there's also, I guess, the aspect where we might be tempted to be impatient with people in that situation for putting an extra burden on society or that kind of thing. So the challenge for you in that box, in that situation, is to continue to think of those people as people created in the image of God, brothers and sisters for whom Christ died. And even though we might disagree on the science around the vaccine or on the virus, to see that person, regardless of their opinions on that matter, as someone who you have more in common with in Christ than you have difference in around matters of COVID. So to continue to love those people despite the disagreements you might have with them.
Yeah. So the second group is those who feel the vaccine's really not, so the virus is not that serious, but the vaccine's got some real dangers and unwilling to take the vaccine. And again, we've got opportunities to love and opportunities to think about, well, how do we treat people properly? Because one of the dangers for those who are not being vaccinated is to maybe look at the vaccinated as compliant sheep who just go along with whatever the government says, who maybe are putting their kids at risk by taking a vaccine, and maybe even when we're thinking of running two services, one for the vaccinated, one for the unvaccinated, thinking, well, maybe we're compromising the gospel by even having those separations. And so there's dangers of kind of having that, maybe looking down on those people as though they're not proper Christians or ungodly. And we need to be loving one another. There are people in our congregation who can't be vaccinated, who want to come to church, who feel the danger of being present with unvaccinated people, and recognising I think it's a 20-fold risk of passing it on for those unvaccinated. So there's a real concern there. And so the opportunity for us is to think about how do we love each other. It's kind of a situation where it's imperfect love. We can't get this right absolutely, because right would be if we could all come together. And so we don't abandon the gospel. We don't give up on loving people who have a different view to us about this. We continue to care for each other. We try not to be outraged by these things. We be patient, we be kind, we be slow to speak and quick to listen, as James calls us to be. So there's important ways we think about how do we love those people? How do we love the people who are vaccinated? How do we care for them and recognise the very real concerns that they have about themselves or their children who are unable to be vaccinated at this stage? Yeah.
So that's box number 2. Number 3 is people who think COVID is serious, but the vaccine is unsafe. And so if you're afraid of COVID and the vaccine, it's quite a distressing place to be in. And we might think, why would anyone want to be there? Well, some of us, people have had, you might know someone who's lost a life or lost a loved one due to COVID. You might have lost a loved one due to COVID. You may also have people close to you who've had adverse reactions to the vaccine, because that has happened. And so if you've had a negative experience of both of those things, you can understand someone being quite wary of both the virus and the vaccine. But if you're wary of both of those things, what do? Well, you just want to cocoon away somewhere safe. And so the challenge is, or the temptation is, to just cut yourself off, to be angry and frustrated with those who might seem frivolous about the virus, and with those who might seem overly positive about the vaccine, and to just kind of disconnect yourself. And so the opportunity, the challenge to love there is to see that there is more going on in life than just COVID and our physical health. To see the world as a place created by God. The community is created by God. We're created to be in fellowship with one another, and we haven't been able to do that for so long. But as opportunities start to arise to do that, to take those advantages and it's still reasonable to weigh the risks and to engage in those things in a way you feel comfortable, and it's understanding that someone in that situation would have a lot of anxiety about these things. So we can be empathetic to someone in that situation, but if you're in box 3, we encourage you to trust the Lord, even in a difficult situation, to show love for your brothers and sisters, and to engage in fellowship in ways that you're able.
Yeah, which brings us to box 4, the happiest box of all, because you're in the situation where you're not too worried about the virus and you're pretty relaxed about the vaccine. So you're happy to wander up to the doctor's surgery or wherever, get the jab, and you're pretty comfortable about that. You don't really have any worries either way. So happy person that you are, come along to church, get involved, perhaps even help teach with the kids' church as we get involved there and interact with some of the kids who won't be able to be vaccinated. And get involved with serving in the life of the church, knowing that there will be others in our church who are really quite have real concerns. But you're in the situation where you're pretty relaxed and you can come along, love one another, care for the community and throw yourself into it.
Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful to think where are you on that grid, and what might be the temptations of how you consider other people on that grid. Wherever we are, we want to be doing our best to keep the unity of the Spirit. Paul says in Ephesians 4, I urge you, prisoner of the Lord, to live worthy of the calling you've received, with all humility, gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, making every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. So not to disparage a brother or sister, but to look for opportunities to show compassion, understanding, love, and patience. We also just want to say, as it comes to meeting together as a church, you might be having certain feelings about church, let alone COVID and the virus. How are you feeling about church? You might be kind of feeling a bit isolated. I'm sure many of us are. You might be feeling a bit anxious just around being with people again, because that's such a foreign thing now, being in large groups. You might be feeling a bit hurt about being disconnected. You might be feeling guilty about not engaging in things. We just want to say, wherever you are, we love you and we're really keen to see you. Please join us Sunday or as soon as you can. We'd love to have you with us as we continue to glorify Jesus together by living and sharing new life in him.
My word. So that's about it. Just the reminder of those couple of things: Friday night youth group, Saturday working bees, Sunday celebration, getting back together. Should be a lot of fun. And then baptisms and carols coming up in December as well. Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you Sunday. That's a wrap. See you then.